IBM eliminated 8,000 jobs, 94% of HR work was automated. We don't have an HR team. It's by design, but why is that a $100,000 job? I have no idea. Episode 108 of Travel Nerds. We're back for another installment. And Jason, I have a gripe about the meetings and events industry. And it was furthered by my wife, and she kind of gave me validation on this. But my gripe is that when you attend a conference, an offsite, any kind of like professional meeting and event, they're also centered around alcohol. And every time that you walk into a new room, there's people walking around with champagne or cocktails or drinks. And I've long been exhausted by this. And I'm not sober, but sometimes it's just like 3 days of just drinking back to back to back. It's too much. So I have two questions for you. One, have you ever been to an event? Like, do you experience this too? Have you ever been to an event where people are just wasted?
Yeah, 100%. In 25 years of the corporate world, I've been to, I'll say at least half a dozen Christmas parties that there was some amount of tragedy that happened directly attributable to someone drinking way too much, right? You just know it's coming. It's like you're trying to just see the seas and you can kind of see the storm brewing somewhere, and inevitably there's fallout. So 100% I agree.
Yeah. And you know what? I was thinking that there is this weird thing that happens at events where if you say that you're not drinking, people think that you have a problem. So as someone who just doesn't want to drink that day, you're kind of stuck in a socially weird place where you have to either drink or you have to appear as an alcoholic. And I kind of like the mocktail space as a middle ground, but interesting enough, I've been talking about this for a while, and we actually had someone reach out to us. I have their drink here, Beero, super good, and it's a non-alcoholic beer, which I've never gotten into because I was like, it probably doesn't taste as good. But they gave me like 4 flavors, and let me tell you, this is as good as the best tasting beer, which my favorite beer is Blue Moon. And they sent me like a noon wheat, ridiculously good. And I wish that meeting planners and meetings would have really solid non-alcoholic beers at events because it would go so far. I don't want to drink for 3-4 days in a row. I really don't.
Totally.
I'll drink for one, but like I wish that there were more things like Beero out. Have you gotten a chance to try one?
You know what? I stopped by. We got one right here. You can witness my first taste. So we'll just crack it open.
All right, I'll crack open the noon wheat. Oh, okay. The pop was good too.
Yeah. All right, let's see what we got.
What do you think?
It tastes like a beer, man. It really does.
It really does.
That's crazy.
Like the flavor is amazing. I played golf on Sunday, and I came home and I just wanted like an ice cold beer. But it was a little bit later, and I try not to drink later in the day because it messes with my sleep. I know I sound like an old man now, but I didn't want to have alcohol. But this was like the perfect blend. And so this is my call to meeting planners. People who put on meetings, events, conferences, consider products like this. The sober curious or the sober people or people who just don't want to drink will thank you. And it's not just for us fringe people. It's actually a growing trend. So I was looking into this, and 18 to 34-year-olds are actually drinking less alcohol than older cohorts. So only 58% of 18 to 34-year-olds actually drink.
Wow. Oh, they're all doing weed. They must be eating the gummies, right?
They're on something. Well, you know, it's kind of interesting though. Like, and I know that this is a touchy, taboo topic, but if you got drunk at a conference, people would be like, ha ha ha, they would giggle and they would laugh. But if you got super high at a conference and people notice, I feel like they would look at you differently. Mm-hmm. Am I off base there?
No, 100%. You get that glassy-eyed going. Now, to be fair, if it was matched with like a drunk person, I don't know they would be able to detect. So you probably slide by in that case. But
yeah,
I definitely feel like there's probably a lot of bias sitting on what type of poison you pick. So that's why also I dig this can. It definitely looks like a beer can. You know what I mean? They didn't go, so you can drink this.
Yeah.
You can like be a part of the scene and, also feel good in the evening and get your 8 hours sleep, man.
I know I'm getting old, so if I don't sleep for 7 or 8 hours, I'm like, okay. Well, why don't you walk us through the show? We have a really cool show planned for you guys. It's going to be 4 real world problems with AI. And so, as you guys know, we cover this a lot. We do talk about it at length, and often we're very pro AI, right? But I wanted to give you kind of 4 different flavors of problems that AI happens and affects change in the real world. So Jason, do you want to kick it off?
Let's take your average consultant. He's got a big client and things are going well. Okay. Next job's on the line. It's 150K. And this client that they've have a relationship with expects, the spreadsheet of like hours worked, and that's how they bill. But now we have AI, and our software consultant can do what would have been 150K and 90 days worth of work in probably, call it 3 weeks by himself. So what does he do? Does he forfeit the 150K and just charge $50 an hour and, grab a little few $100s and save his client tons of money? Does he try to, fake out a bunch of fake people that are working and send fake hours in? What do you do, Kenny? What does this person do?
Okay, that's a tough dilemma. On the surface, I would say, well, one, I know what you're saying because people do want the spreadsheet of like how many hours did this person do? Honestly, I think, to be honest with you, in the real world, I think what these people do is they do what lawyers do, is they just make it up. Right. So they say like, hey, this task took me 4 hours. It took them 25 minutes. I think lawyers are famous for this. Right. And lawyers in the age of AI, not to say that my wife does this because she doesn't, but she's more productive now. So the things that were taking her an hour worth of billing, she's now doing in 15 minutes. Well, what is she going to do? And what's fair too, right? Like you're paying for the output. So I actually think that the people will lie. And they'll say like, hey, I worked on this, because a lot of it is on the honor system anyway, right? Mm-hmm. And then, there's probably some within reason where you can cut to say like, hey, you spent 22 hours on this thing. We're cutting that. That's a 10-hour project. So I think that people will end up trying to like fib it.
Okay, I'll take it a step further. I'll say I agree with you because in one sense, they're not going to give up the 150K price tag. The thing is going to cost what the thing was going to cost. Right. Now, if it's a spreadsheet that has people's names in it, now that's kind of like fraudulent where you're like saying these people did things. I think the spreadsheets are going to morph into here's the tasks that were done. And somewhere we're going to start finding asterisks on the sheet that says these are human equivalent hours, something to that effect where it's like, hey, if a human did this, this is what it would have cost. Now I may have done it in 1/10 of the time or 1/100th of the time, but this is the human equivalent of what it would take. And hey, pay me for that. And if you have a problem with it, we can talk it out. But I think there's going to be this sort of human equivalent charge that starts popping up for a while. Eventually, all companies will start expecting things to be done in 2 weeks and automatic and super cheap. But for now, the arbitrage is going to go into the software consultant's pocket.
That's actually an interesting take. And in an adjacent way, I'm kind of going through this with Diva. We recently got a medical test done, and we're currently arguing with insurance of who should pay for this. And because over the phone, we were told twice that this test would be covered. And then they're claiming that the test is experimental and it will not be covered. And so it's very interesting because basically both parties have to agree on this like schedule of like this thing and what does this thing cost. So I could see in the software world where there are some standards and best practices, almost like a project sheet. Like, hey, you're going to set up like an AWS infrastructure. Okay, Setting that up, that's a $10,000 task or a $25,000 task. And there will be like something, and maybe you beat it, maybe you don't. Like that's on you. But I could see this world where like somebody creates almost like a rate sheet, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of makes sense.
And in the end, it's you're paying for value. I think the days of paying for hours are going to start coming to an end, and everything's going to be based on deliverables. But there's a lot of accounting departments that are just so rigid. Don't even try to get something else through because you'll never get through. So in comes the questionable spreadsheets.
Interesting. Okay. I have one for you, a real world problem of HR. This one is actually super interesting. I saw it come across TikTok. And this one, when I saw it, scared me to death. Matt, if you want to run this from TikTok, we will see you on the other side.
MIT strapped EEG caps on people using ChatGPT, and what they found may honestly scare you. Over several weeks, MIT had people write essays, some with ChatGPT, some without, while wearing brain monitoring headgear. The ChatGPT users, they wrote faster, seemed more efficient, but under the hood, their brain flatlined. The researchers are calling it cognitive debt, like skipping leg day for your brain. It's the mental version of outsourcing your workout. You feel productive now, but it hits you later. Those who leaned on AI had weaker brain network activity, worse memory recall, and almost no sense of ownership over what they created. And here's the crazy part. When MIT forced them to go tool-free again, they crashed. Their brain couldn't keep up. What's funny is search engines were better. It kind of gave you a boost without effectively turning off your frontal lobe. But I wonder if this is really all that surprising. And I wonder if the study is accurately reflecting the effects of ChatGPT. Because yes, if I'm just outsourcing essay writing to ChatGPT, of course my brain's not going to be doing much. But people do all kinds of things with ChatGPT. They do deep work. They do actual collaboration with it like another human. I feel like we got to have additional studies on this to see the true effects of what's going on. But let me know in the comments. Are we basically going to turn into the humans from WALL-E getting shuttled around, fat as hell, drinking our big gulp? Or do you think this study's just completely overblown?
Okay.
So
What do you think?
Our brains are getting lazy. What's going on?
Okay. I heard this and I was thinking, our brains are getting lazy and flatlining. All right. First of all, that's insane because ChatGPT has been around at scale for, I'll call it a year, right? I mean, maybe a little bit more for like the first adopters. But mainstream, it's really been around for about a year. If people's brains are flatlining after 1 year, take that out for a student who is using ChatGPT for all of their work in school and has been for 5 years, 10 years. What are their critical thinking skills like? Is that not terrifying?
You know, on one hand, I'm terrified, but on the other hand, like, you know, did we like measure people's brains when the calculators came out and been like, okay, do the math problem. Okay, your brain's flatlining while you're doing math. And you know what I mean? We weren't that deep into it. So, you know, we have a lot of tools and a lot of studies. So I think while there's probably definitely some laziness going on while the chat GPT is doing my work for me, I think if we take the steps after where you have to edit the thing, you have to present the thing, you have to talk about the thing with someone else, I think there's still enough meat on the bone to keep our brains occupied, and hopefully we can scale it all down to like 1 day a week, and then it's okay. I'll flatline the other 4 days, next to my pool. Thank you.
Yeah. You know what? I'll actually go along with you for this take. So when you hear that on the surface, it would be very easy to agree with it because it's very well done. It's persuasive. The guy's persuasive, right? MIT, a study, they hook people up. But if you think about it like this, you had the perfect example of calculators and computers, right? So like calculators and computers came and they outsourced a lot of the cognitive load for people. And I would make the argument that the world is only accelerating in how smart that the world is, how much better that the world is. Contrary to a lot of like people's beliefs, the world gets better every single year. Like there's so many measures of this, and you could look it up and like, is the world getting worse or better? It's getting better. People are getting healthier, smarter, live longer, more equality. Like the world is moving in a positive direction. Are there parts that slip? Of course. But with all the rise of technology, the world keeps marching forward and getting better. So I would almost argue that the technology that humans just have this like need to progress. And if you think about it on like a philosophical species level, human beings are the only organism on the planet that have a desire for progress. If you really think about it, like think about every other thing. Birds are not building better nests.
No.
Ants are not building better colonies. Dolphins aren't organizing themselves in a different way. Humans are the only thing that like needs to progress. It's probably the one thing that makes us unique, right? Is that this just need to get better and the need to improve. Is there any other thing on earth that's like that? Where
Right.
like
And this,
as a species, it wants to get better and improve.
yeah, this is it. In this technology, really what it does is it lets people that are dumber, contribute, before
The B players now can play.
It's like, come on board. Things are getting easy, guys.
Do you know what though? It's like really true. I know we both run teams, right? And every team wants a team of all A players. And Steve Jobs has this famous thing of like only hire A players because if you hire B players, they bring down the A players and yada, yada, yada. It's so true. And now if you aren't striving to being an A player or you can't compete on that A player field, what excuse do you have? It's usually just an effort thing at this point. Like if you're in marketing, if you're a writer, if you're not seen as an A player for your org, you're going to get what's coming to you, right?
Yeah,
It's like,
all these layoffs that we hear about are coming for those people, basically, because
you're stealing my thunder for the layoff story, but after you go, I'll share that one.
All right. Well, you've kind of teed up the next one for me, because if we think about the college student who, you're let's say, if you're really advanced, you're bright, you're graduating high school right now, you probably already have 2 years of college underneath because all these dual enrollments or programs where you graduate with your AA. So you're coming out of high school and you really have 2 years left to like make your mark in the world if you're going to go for the college, right? And if you do, let's say that you're like a math science major, you're somewhere in that space. As a student coming out of high school, you have this choice. Do I go the traditional route? Do I try to press into my, 2 years of whatever it might be, computer science, engineering, whatever, chemistry, or do I try to veer off and use AI to do something immediately? To some extent, I feel like this used to not be a choice, where it was just like, yeah, you go do college, and the exceptions were the people who dropped out and did their own thing or whatever. I feel like the value of a college education, given what AI can do, given the way that you can be trained up and pulled up to speed in any topic, it seems to me like that question is now bigger than ever. What does a kid do coming out of high school today, Kenny?
You are the one with the kid. I mean, my kid is on the way and he's not even one. And I have so long, by the time that he has to wrestle with this, I have no idea what the world will look like. But I mean, you have someone that's going to be graduating into college, right? Like, how do you feel as a parent?
Yeah, it's crazy. And, that it really just is one more thing to worry about, because the truth is at this point, as a parent, you have no more control over what's going on in your child's life once they graduate. They just are off and running to the races, right? So if there was advice that I had to give, it would be, follow the passion. And if you have passion for something and you can clearly see how to execute against it, if it requires college, then go do it. Check off the college. If you can see a way to follow your passion and college feels more like, a detour, then that's probably what it is. So I think, going with that intuition of what do you need to accomplish what's before you is really the guide.
Okay. I have an alternative take on the path of a child to college, and then we'll get back to the show. But okay, so I was thinking about this because me and Diva, we're expecting in November. Great, right? But we talk into the future, like, what is this kid gonna be like? Is he gonna be cool? Is he gonna not be cool? I hope he's cool. But then we were talking about like college and like, is he gonna go to college? And then I was thinking, you know what? There was part of me when I was younger who was like, I want them to go to like the very best school because I think that it opens doors. But now I kind of am in the camp of that. I do want them to go to college, but I want them to go to college just to experience college. And I care very little about what their degree is in, and I care very little about how they come out of it. I just want them to go there and like meet a ton of people. It's such a unique experience. I want them just to meet a ton of people, experience everything that they can do, and then you'll like figure life out. And that's probably a little bit privileged because I'm coming from the things of like, oh, in 20 years, I could probably I could rescue him a little bit, right? Like, there's like that part of it. But like, I almost think that just go to a big SEC school with a great football program that is like festive and fun and people are doing stuff. And because I also think that probably you're going to college more for the network because like they're going to be some of your friends for the rest of your life. And like you almost should pay the money and do the whole debt thing just for that and really not for the outcome of like gaining skills. I think the skills that you gain are like the soft skills. Like how do you go up to a girl at a bar? How do you, run a team, or how do you socialize with people? It's like all those soft skills I think are going to become more important. And so I think that college, first of all, I hate college and I hope it fails in some respects. I think it's a corrupt institution. But then in some sense, I'm like, dude, I think my son should go just because it's like a great time.
Right. I totally agree. I'll add 2 points. I think you're bang on for the experience. The danger is that, number one, like my son, he's graduating high school, already has 2 years of college behind him. So now there's this strange, like, oh, you're going to come out and be, a sophomore, a junior. You're going to be a junior when you come out of high school, and you go straight into that. And now the age
just
differences
take some more classes. Yeah, just have them take some more classes.
You know what I mean? So like,
yeah, I know what you're
for
saying,
the advanced kid, you end up in this place where like the college, and there are some kids who are naturally whatever, but like the age difference and the time difference, if your kid gets a little bit of college under his belt in high school, it puts him off, kilter for that. And then secondly, I have a neighbor that's going to college. And she, spent 1 year on campus, one semester had on-campus housing, but the rest has been off campus. She lives at home. So what kind of college? So yes, she's going to college, but the experience that you and I are like,
it's off.
Yeah,
it's off.
No. Yeah. So it's like it's a prescribed thing of like on your own, thrown in with like a multi-roommate situation. You want to have people that are your same age and going through the same struggle as you. And if all that comes together, then I think you're right. But there's so many like branches where that's missing. It's too late. It's too early. So
yeah, or it's not.
It's just
for
getting more fragmented.
It's not for the right kid too, right? So it's like, yeah, that makes sense. But college, I think about it all the time. And me and one of my friends always used to have this thing of like, are we enjoying it enough? We always used to like say like, because we got to travel the world and stuff, and we would like look at each other and be like, are we enjoying this like enough? Like, are we soaking this in? We're in London, or we're in Paris, or we're in Amsterdam walking around. We're like, are we really appreciating this? But like when I think back to college, I'm like, damn, I probably didn't really appreciate it enough. It's so unique.
Yeah. I may be one of the few that I can say I definitely appreciated it in the moment, to the point where I spent so much time like taking advantage and partying every moment. The last semester I lived with what turned out to be my wife, and she bought me for my graduation of college present a suit, because she was like, I don't know, he sits in front of, he's like high in front of video games 24/7. I don't think there's a real career here anymore.
Lo and behold, the video game thing popped.
Yeah.
Right? You'd never even know, right? But yeah, no. Also, I don't know what you think about this, but I was listening to something the other day, and I'm reading this book actually by Sahil Bloom called "The 5 Types of Wealth." If I butchered the title, I'm sorry. But the book is fantastic. But it's basically, it breaks down like there are 5 kind of categories of wealth. And I was thinking about, and one of it is like financial wealth. And I was thinking about like some of the happiest times in my life. And some of the happiest times in my life were like I would say my senior, I did 2 senior years, my 2 senior years in college. Incredible. And then I was thinking about it. I, at many times, had less than $500 to my name. But I was so happy, and it was such a great time. And then I started thinking about the relationship between happiness and money. And I was like, so I think it's a really good exercise if you want to ask yourself or ask your partner, what was the happiest year of your life? And then think about your bank account in that sense. And then start to go down the list and be like, okay, what was number 2? What was the number 3 most happy year? And then start to think about your bank account, and you start to do an inventory of your own life and your relationship between how happy was I and how much money did I have. Now, I think the best year of my life was probably last year. It was actually probably the summer of 23 going into the summer of 24. That 12 months, the best. Like, never been happier. It was the best. And, you know, the bank account was okay. So, like, I can't say that, like, I would trade places with my college poor self. Right. But, man, it really does make you think.
Yeah. And I might make it a triangle of, like, happiness, money, and responsibility. Because, you know, money tends to creep with responsibility. You know, they tend to stay equal, but they don't have to be. But there's a great bit, I forget the guy's, he's a comedian, and he talks about how, like, you know, the happiest day of his life was his the first day of his divorce, when he was divorced, because he was like, there's no responsibility anymore. And he's like, you know, hey, if you're happily married, good for you, congratulations, but you could be happier if you got divorced. I don't subscribe to any of that nonsense. But sure. I will say that I think the reason he says that and the reason it sparks with people is because of that lift of responsibility, because we tend to, you know, get the dogs, get the kid, get the house, get the mortgage, you know, and it's like, whoa. So,
yeah. Now, does Kimmy listen to the pod?
You know, I don't think she's a dedicated listener, so I can go pretty out on the edge here. And, you know, we're all techie stuff, so she's probably she's got me on 4X listening. Diva hasn't listened to a single pod.
It's a safe space. It's a safe space. All right. Okay. So I have a pretty cool story on HR. And I'm going to tee this up with another clip from Instagram. A preview. IBM just replaced 8,000 HR employees. Play the clip.
IBM just cut 8,000 people against one thing. AI. So 8,000 people versus one chatbot. So who does it better? Obviously the chatbot did it better because IBM cut 8,000 people. Yeah, IBM laid off 8,000 HR employees. Not for budget, not for performance. They got replaced by a chatbot. That bot is called Ask HR, and it runs on IBM's own AI engine, Watson X Orchestrate, okay? 94% of HR work automated. Pay, vacation, paperwork, even terminations. 3.5 billion in productivity gains. 40% drop in HR costs. IBM built a system that made these types of layoffs possible. Now they're selling it to everyone else. Package, no code, enterprise ready. IBM calls it innovation. Let's call it what it is, y'all. One of the first at-scale white-collar replacement experiments, and it worked.
The headline there is IBM eliminated 8,000 jobs, and was it 94%? 94% of HR work was automated.
That's amazing.
Oh my God. I mean, people have been talking about this, and there's been 2 schools of thought. There have been one school of thought, which I do believe in this one. I don't know how I shake out. I do believe in this one school of thought where there's going to be jobs that pop up that we couldn't have imagined. And I think that will be true. But then I also think that you are straight up lying if you think that there are some jobs that will go away and the replacement will not be anything close to what the job that you had. So imagine that you are an HR employee, and I did look this up. The average HR employee at IBM, the median salary is $114,000. So it's a good job. Yeah. Now, why does HR command a $100,000 salary? Beyond me. Like, yeah. I'll just straight up, like, we don't have an HR team. It's by design, but why is that a $100,000 job? I have no idea.
Yeah, it lands very close to my heart. In 25 years of software development companies, I've always felt like I've had inside of HR like an adversary. Like, so, there's something that's going to drag me down and slow everything, and like, not to just bust up on every HR, but it's one of those jobs where that's what you got to do. You got to slow things down. You got to make sure things are right, and you piss everyone off in the company. So it's only natural that those would be some of the first things automated.
Yeah, and then you also, and I'm sorry if you work in HR and you find this offensive, I apologize. But you do have to take real stock in the value that you provide to the world. And if you make $100,000, and what do you do for the bottom line? Like, that's what I think that more people are going to ask.
Yeah, you do this thing, Kenny. You've done it at several places where you say, okay, what's the thing we sell? Okay, how many of those do we have to sell to support this person? It sounds so simple, but it's brilliant when you hear it and you go, oh my gosh, wait, we have to sell that much to have this? It doesn't work out that way.
Yeah, like imagine, we have 40 people. We do not have an HR department. How we've chosen to structure our business is that the team leads are responsible for the onboarding and all the kind of HR functions. If something has to rise to a complaint, it goes to the team lead first. So you as CTO, you handle all of the engineering team. Me, I handle the sales team and some other portions of the company. But we've been asked like, oh, do you have HR? We've had people like kind of like do like outsource HR. And I was like, I don't know what you would do. Like, if we hired an HR person, even if we had double the amount of people, I can't in my mind think about what an HR person would do for 40 hours a week. I can't.
Yeah, it really is.
Now,
it really only comes into play when you get at a big company with scale. I think that then it's like, okay, there's funnels of things happening that have to be kind of managed on the daily. But but
what are those things? Like, I can't even.
IBM found them and got $3 billion back for automating them. So
I guess that. But a lot of it seemed like kind of like administrative paperwork, right? It's like kind of like onboarding and paperwork and filling out forms. Like, it's not very like high. To my point, it's not very like high value tasks. And to your point of saying who like you feel like you have an adversary, you 100% do. HR is not there for the employees. HR is there to protect the company. Correct. And if we hired an HR, say one day, the expectation is that HR person works for you and I.
Yeah.
They're not on behalf of within reason, right? Like, we want to have a good company culture and do all that stuff. And if we don't provide a great place to work, we won't attract great talent, which we definitely have in spades. And like, so the market makes all those forces upon us. We have really high retention. Our people do, like, by and large, do not quit, period. So like, I feel like that capitalism and like market dynamics kind of just like work all that stuff out. But I don't know. First, I have sympathy for it, but it's a very tough thing to see your job automated away. But it's just gonna. I think AI will shine the light on like your value creation.
The AI wave that's happening is happening faster than any transition ever before, right? So like computers and everything, there's like a physical deployment rollout situation. AI, all the infrastructure's there, and you can go from, IBM one day needing 3,000 employees, 8,000 employees. to the next day not needing them. That is just incredible change, super fast. So I think in the near term, massive losses, mass layoffs. It's going to be insane. And yes, people will need to bail out of their entire career path into other places. But I do think the back part of that will be the things that spring up in the AI world that we can't even fathom right now because the rails aren't built yet. So the new jobs will come, but they won't come as quickly as the old ones are going.
Yeah, no, it's super fair. You were teasing something to me. You had a procedure done on your face and you posted some progress. Could you walk me through, like, first of all, I'm not even clear. What did you have done? And I know it was like super painful and you were talking to us on Slack about like, hey, I'm going to be messed up. But tell me about it.
This is funny. So I have a little history of skin cancer in my family. My dad has, had a few things lasered off. He's fine. But what it means is I need to regularly, once a year, go get checked out. And I've been doing that. And most recently, they said, hey, we found what they call sun-damaged cells, and we want to nuke them off your face before they turn into cancer cells and start making cancer. So they can kind of catch things super early. And the way they do it is they put this cream all over your face, and then they sit you in this, that sits on your face for like 45 minutes, maybe 2 hours actually. And then they put you in for like 20 minutes in this light. And what's happened is the cream is this material that gets absorbed by the cells that are most damaged. And then the light comes and it activates the cream and effectively absorbs more of the UV energy. And so it ends up targeting all the damaged cells because they're the ones that have most of the cream on it. Now, one of the things that happens is it's like a severe burn. So there's like a recovery period, and a couple days after you can't really go to in the sun at all because that cream's still on there, and any direct sun would activate it again. So I went through this 14-day recovery period. It ended up
14
great.
days.
Yeah, all told. But I took pictures every day. Because I was like, part of your face like literally peels off. It's kind of,
Did it hurt as bad as you thought?
It did. There was like 2 days where it felt like I got a crazy sunburn. While they were doing it, they give you a fan too to like blow on your face, and you can tell like there's a lot of heat coming off. Like, because if you stop the fan, it's like, ooh, this is hot. And so really? that heat, it just continues. You can see from the recovery pictures, I go from the procedure right after it to like 8 hours later, I'm redder. You get redder like a day and a half into it, and then you start healing, and then your face starts peeling and all this other stuff. So what I did was, because I'm a nerd, is I went to Replit and I said, hey, Replit, here's all my Google photos. And for Google, it's weird. You got to download the photos and then re-upload them. So they're like new files. So like, how does it know the time? Well, the time code is in the metadata of the photos. So I asked Replit, extracted the metadata from the photos, arrange the photos in order, and create a web page that shows my recovery history by, group everything by post-op days. And also here's my procedure, and put some facts up above it. And so I'll share the website here so anyone can take a look. And I guess, Matt, maybe if we could have that show for everyone. You can see here my recovery and all the phases. I'll paste it to you, Kenny, and then you can look at it.
Oh, yeah. We'll definitely put it in the show notes as well. So if you guys want to check this out, go into the show notes, whether you're on Spotify or YouTube or whatever. We'll drop a link to the Replit in the show notes. And are we also Replit power users? How are we not sponsored by Replit? We've built five internal apps. We pretty much have replaced Figma with Replit. Like, can we get a sponsorship? I mean, Bureau, we appreciate you guys. And I definitely found a new drink for the fridge, but let's get some Replit sponsorships, huh?
Yeah, we could use some Replit tokens for sure, man, because we burn those jokers off, man.
Oh, is our bill bad? I gotta look at this. Oh, running over. Walk, don't run. Oh, I gotta go check that out. Ooh, so, yeah,
okay,
we do put that agent to work.
Yeah, we do. It's so good, and it's just getting better. And I share with the engineering team our latest creations and go over them with them so that they understand, what's coming. Like it's definitely filling a lot of gaps in our operations and even some of our customer spaces.
I did make a project for our team in Claude. I'll talk about it with you offline, but with Anna starting on Monday, I started a little project in Claude. I have some ideas. If you're just listening, you're probably just hearing me and Jason stumble and fumble around. But if you're on YouTube or Spotify, check this out. This is very cool. It's all about the therapy. And then you have pre-operation. That's your face. Post-operation. And you're in a suit, which I love, like staying professional. Whoa, you do get... That actually looks pain. Oh, wow. It is getting worse. Dude, what is going on here? Oh, my God. And first of all, your selfie skills, like you may be one of one, dude. These selfie skills are insane. This is so good. Oh, the shirtless for the ladies, too. Oh,
Yeah,
and the
let's
salt
go.
and peppered goatee.
Yeah. I couldn't shave during the process, so the beard started coming in. I was like, I don't know what to do.
I feel like around day 7, you start to turn the corner.
Yeah, you're right. It is about a week. I said 14. I meant 7. You're right. It's one.
Dude, the salt and pepper beard looks sick.
Yeah. All right. We can bring it back.
Oh my God. I mean, mine's like this too, and I'm a lot younger than you, but this is so cool. All right. Well, if you guys are just listening, go into the show notes, check it out. If you have a history of skin cancer, we're not sponsored by these people yet, but also we should be, because this is a good.
I did post it. I did a review. I did a review for this place, this dermatology place online. I couldn't really get a hold of them, but I did the review and I posted my link into the review of my face melting procedure. So they, if anyone's going to get this done, hey, check it out.
Yeah. There's a referral code in the link. No. All right. Well, that's the pod for today. You guys have had enough of us. Tune in. We'll have another episode that comes out in 2 weeks. Jason goes on vacation. He's leaving me. So we wish Jason well to Banff and to Canada, a little Canadian adventure. And till next time. Later, nerds.